All right, so Texas is in town for a 4-game series. They've won the first 3 games pretty decisively. And of course, if you're following baseball, specifically the American League wild card standings, it's Texas, Seattle, and Toronto fighting for the last 2 wild card spots. Texas has come into town and absolutely showed the Jays who the better team is, specifically offensively, and this is the Jays' final time to get 1 game off them. And not scrape a game off on the road. Scrape 1 game off them at home. So let's go through the game bit by bit. So Texas jumps out into an early lead, and then Vladdy finally gets a pitch that he likes, a mistake thrown by the starter from Texas, and he finally does what we've been hoping for.
Hit one out of the ballpark to get this team back where they need to be. Oh, boy! Did he ever! He got a hold of one and hit it into the second deck.
Jays up 2-1. And next inning, Corey Seager's like, all right, you can do that. I'll do this.
Fastball away, sent to left.
And just like that, it's 3-2. So that's a ball that Merrifield definitely could have caught. More like Seager just really put a charge into that one. And Merrifield's looking at his glove like, man, is there like a hole in that or something? I swear I had it. So whatever. Anyway, it's only the second inning. So Rangers retaliate on the Jays taking the lead. And I want to focus on how are the Jays going to respond to the Rangers taking the lead back? So in the 4th, Texas adds on another run because, of course, they do. They're just the 1927 Yankees, apparently. The Jays got, I think it's Merrifield on first base, and you got Kirk. If I were the manager as a team that's struggling to score runs, and considering that Kirk is, since he's a guy that can put the bat on the ball, I would have done a hit and run. But you know what? It's not the end of the world. Whatever. You know, Kirk flies out, and they don't get anything else that inning. So let's move to the 5th, where you have your big guns to the plate. Bichette starts off strong with a nice leadoff double. And then you got Vladdy up. And Vladdy hit a home run just a few innings ago in the same spot with Bichette on base, and he hits a no-doubter. But then you hear this.
Lots of time left for the Blue Jays to get back in this game.
And you realize that it's already September, and you know that things aren't going to change, specifically when it comes to Vladdy catching up to a fastball, which is something actually we're going to see a couple more times with Vladdy.
Swing and a miss. Bradford gets him with a fastball up, 2 down.
And then Schneider's up. Listen, he's the second coming of Jesus, but I don't expect him to carry this team, so he strikes out.
Swung on and missed, and Bradford gets 3 big outs. Here in the bottom of the 5th, Texas still leads 4-2.
And you can hear a little bit of restlessness in the crowd there, right at the very end, because everyone's getting ready for a big rally. It's the 5th inning, and you don't get anything. And let's go to the 7th inning. But before we go to where Vladdy's up in another big spot, I just wanted to go back to this really interesting part here. Not really related, but earlier in the inning, Kirk gets on base, he walks, and there's a lefty on the mound right now, and Kiermaier, who's a lefty, is scheduled to bat. So Schneider gets Espinal. He's holding the bat. He's ready to come into the game. He steps up to the batter's box. And then Bruce Bochy on the other dugout. He's going through his notes that he gets from the front office. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take out the lefty here and bring in a righty. So later in the inning, 1st and 2nd, 2 outs. Vladdy's up.
Well, this team needs a moment, Buck. And they are hoping that Guerrero can deliver. It has gotten noisier here.
You can tell the crowd really needed this. They're really getting antsy. And before Vladdy comes up, Springer is up, and he takes this really nasty swing, and he's like, fuck. And the boos are starting to come more and more, getting more and more restless. Bo walks, and now here's Vladdy.
So Kirk and Bichette will be running on the pitch. And he struck him out. Another fastball by Leclerc. He gets it by Guerrero, and the Blue Jays are retired. Going to the 8th, still 4-2 Texas. Let's get a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie and Joe.
And you can start to hear the boos a little bit more. People are getting more and more anxious. And again, in a game where they were trying to avoid getting swept, a 4-game series sweep at home against a team that they're fighting for that last spot, you needed something in one of these innings offensively. And besides that 2-run homer, you just don't get anything for the first 7 innings. And spoiler alert, you don't get anything else in the last 2 innings. And I saw something on Twitter. It made me realize, yeah, that's exactly what happened. If you don't capitalize on your opportunities, the other team will on theirs. So here comes Texas. Marcus Semien capitalizes on a hit, base hit to left. That scores a run. And now it's just mayhem in Toronto right here.
Third not in time. Semien goes into second, and Texas has extended the lead.
Base hit in between Trevor Richards' legs. 2-run score. There are 0 outs. They're ahead by 5. And they're capitalizing right here.
Semien score, and the Rangers are piling on. It is 7-2.
And the manager's like, all right, I'm taking you out.
And here comes John Schneider. Leody Taveras had just been announced in as a pinch hitter, but I don't think that had any impact on this move. Schneider coming out to get Richards, who does not get an out. With Texas having added on 3 runs here in the top of the 8th inning.
So here comes Jimmy Garcia. The first guy he sees, tries to bunt, can't. Next pitch, bunts it right back to him.
He gets it down, and Garcia looks to second and then third, and by the time he looked to first, it was too late.
Wow. I mean, that's just unbelievable right there. I mean, he bunts it right back to the pitcher, but there was no play at third, definitely, and you had to take the out at first base, and they end up getting nothing.
And he tries to throw it to third, realizes he doesn't have a play. It's too late to go to first, so they don't get anybody out, and there's still 0 outs. And then he walks in, the bases loaded once.
Ball 4, and another run comes in, and the booing resumes here at the Rogers Center.
It's 9-2, and they get out of it, but at that point, the game is over. The series is over. The Blue Jays get swept at home. And at this point, it's more of just the crowd's frustration getting to everyone. And I feel bad that they're booing the pitchers because it's not their fault. It's the hitters not doing what they're supposed to do, what this baseball team is supposed to be, which is be above average hitting team, and they're just not. And their playoff chances, while still 50-50, the way that they played today and the previous 3 days makes you think they're not even a team that's ready for the playoffs. So John Schneider, as always, spoke to the media after the game, and like what he always does, which, again, I don't think the loss is entirely on him. The way the team is playing is not entirely on him. He's just kind of trusting his guys and riding and dying with them no matter what happens. But as I've said before, there are little things you can do to improve the team. Change up the lineup. Maybe do some hit and run. Maybe not put in a pitcher in a high leverage situation where you got to keep the game close and he's given up runs in each of his last 5 games. And so I don't understand why he was out there. Was there a specific stat that we don't know of? Because there is a lot of other options in the bullpen, and a lot of guys haven't been used because a lot of the last 3 games have not been competitive, so they have not been able to use their high leverage guys. So is there a specific reason why you used him? A specific matchup? Something that you liked about him? What's the reason why you put him in the game?
John, Trevor Richards has allowed 17 runs in his last 9 1/3. How do you continue to bring him into games in game situations?
I think he has 94 strikeouts in about 60 innings this year.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand that response. You have all these stats available to you, and then you just say, oh yeah, the dude has been striking out a lot of guys this season. Like, yeah, but it's a what have you done for me lately league, especially the bullpen. Who's hot? Who's not? Who's been pitching well lately? Who hasn't? And unless you're like a clear top closer or a clear top reliever, and you've had a few dry spells lately, or you haven't been that good lately, then yeah, you'll keep going with them. But Trevor Richards has had great stretches. Don't get me wrong. But he's had some really bad games as well, some really bad stretches. And he's in a bad stretch right now. And you can't afford to lose these games. So why are you putting him in this game when there's nothing to back it up besides, oh yeah, in the 60 whatever games, he has 40 strikeouts or whatever the hell. I don't get it. Blue Jays get swept. But the beauty thing about baseball is that you got a lot of games, and they're only a game and a half out. But they have to start winning right now. They have 15 games left. If they don't win 10 of those, they're out of the playoffs. And when they're out of the playoffs, my friend, there will be changes. See you in hell.